Hello and welcome. The debate about UFOs is everywhere in the media, as government of USA is going to release a report in the last week of June. Earlier there were UFO enthusiasts, scientists who claimed that they were involved in secret missions, and debunkers who were interested in UFOs. But with the announcement that USA government is going to release a report, there is interest of former presidents, NASA, CIA, and whatnot. So we are going to talk about the issue to Jeremy Corbell, who is a filmmaker who is involved in the issue. He made films on this, and his mentor is the person who broke this news in 1989.
My name is Jeremy Corbell. I seek to weaponize your curiosity, and if you're ready to suspend your own prejudice, welcome to the world of extraordinary beliefs.
Are we all the product of an alien video game? The extraterrestrial technology is real, it's possible. We have material that has been pulled out of a man's leg that should not exist. This sample could not have been made on Earth because the isotopic ratios.
I know there are alien craft here from another planet. I was inside one.
Who are we? And where are we actually sitting within the architecture of our universe? Are we alone? Or is the answer simply stranger than we can?
Jami, you have been working on the issue of UFO. You have made films, you have given interviews to different places, and you were constantly saying that this is something real. So, how anxious or what is going on in your mind at the point of time when there is a report coming and there are reports in the newspapers that this is going to be part of that report?
Well, I think that this has been a long time coming, where the governments of the world have been obfuscating the truth from the American public and from the global public. UFOs are a global phenomenon, and they are durational. This has been with the human experience. Probably you understand better than anybody, from the Vimyana all the way back, in the history of your culture as well as mine. The UFO experience has been with us. This is nothing new, but the cloak of opaque secrecy has encapsulated the UFO phenomenon for so long that governments and individuals and different programs that deal with trying to understand this mystery have always operated from a premise of need to know as little information as possible. We are now moving into a new era of human interaction with the phenomenon, with this mysterious phenomenon. And our government in the United States is being forced to compensate for what they have done in the past. They're being forced to describe, admit, acknowledge, confirm that the UFO presence on planet Earth is real, that they're unknown, that they're technologically advanced, that they fly with impunity within our airspace and our oceans, and that they engage our military, as well as in America, as all around the world. So this new tone, this new attitude, this report, all of this, it's a step forward to us beginning to recognize that we are living in a world that is more diverse, it's more mysterious than we thought, and this is no longer in the realms of conspiracy. It's no longer in the realms of pseudoscience. UFOs are real.
So one of the possible explanation for UFO was that it is US spacecrafts, or it is the experiments done by the US, whereas it is a secret for the public. Now there are reports that the UFOs or the unidentified aerial phenomena is not US doing. So what does it mean to the whole debate?
So we don't know what UFOs are as a public, as a global public. We don't know. We don't know where they're from. We know they're technologically advanced, and we know that they can outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform our greatest military weapons and arsenals. We know that, but we don't know where they're from. So this is kind of the trillion-dollar question, is who is operating these craft? What is their intent? And that's something that it's going to take us a while to get to if we do get to an understanding of that. But we first have to acknowledge we don't know whose they are. So the fact that this report coming out is taking off of the table one of these possibilities that has been looming over the consciousness of the world. Are these black projects? Are these military US projects? The answer is no. And now that's admitted to. So with that admitted, we can then go into, well, is this Russia? Is this China? What foreign developed technological nation could be performing with propulsion systems unknown to humankind, never shown in the theater of war? Well, I'll tell you, the UFOs have been here with us since in America since the Wright brothers went into the air. This is something that has been with us for so long that it is not a foreign nation. It's not the US. It's unfortunate. I wish it was. It would change humanity. It would change the way we consume and use energy. There's something to be learned from UFOs, but it's not ours. So that's a big deal. It's a big deal that this report is taking off of the table the idea this is US black technology or foreign technologies.
Yeah, one of the expression that you have always used is that you weaponize the curiosity. So do you think that the curiosity is weaponized with this increased interest of presidents, of NASA and Wall Street and even Hollywood?
I do, and I thank you for asking that, because people get very angry when I say that because they think weaponized is a bad word, but it's not. All that means is that I stopped being a passive consumer and I stopped being a passive observer of this information, and I became an active participant in trying to figure out the truth. So you notice I'm releasing military videos. I am actively trying to push the ball forward. My curiosity was weaponized. It became active. And I really hope that this is something that other people around the world are experiencing, is if you don't have an answer, don't make it up. Instead, investigate the unexplained. Don't explain the uninvestigated. Our job as journalists and documentary filmmakers is to investigate the unexplained. That's what I'm doing. That's what we should all be doing. Don't make stuff up just because you don't understand it.
So one of the argument with the expression weaponized curiosity is that most of the information coming out or most of the activity is around the military activity, whether it is Navy or the military. So that is one of the apprehension was that the spacecraft that we are seeing and calling them unidentified objects may be military expeditions, or they are doing something. So that is a real apprehension that if it is the military, then they are weaponizing the unidentified aerial objects. Yes.
Well, look, if this was our military, then we would have utilized this technology decades ago. Because remember, UFOs are part of the beginning of recorded human history. Every culture on this planet has reported unidentified flying objects since the beginning that human beings started looking up at the skies and seeing stars and understanding that those were stars with planets and this sort of thing. So to say that this is a foreign technology or a US-based, black program technology, you're ignoring the body of evidence in our historic record that UFOs have been with us, since the beginning of recorded human history, probably before, but since human beings were writing it down. So I think the idea that we could exploit these technologies for weaponization, that is true. That is real. Like, every country keeps it secret because they want to make sure that they get any weapons capability, that they're ahead of the time. But there comes a moment in the human experience where you have to evaluate the importance of that information and say, is it more important that we're transparent about UFOs with the population of Earth so people understand that we are not alone in the universe, or should we just exploit the technologies and the weapon systems? So that is a roadblock. That is a problem, because every country wants to defend their own nation. I understand that. But we're at a point now, we have to go beyond that. We have to look at it from an epistemological, the nature of reality, from an existential standpoint. We need to look at this from a position of human culture engaging a larger understanding of the cosmos.
Yeah, so another expression which you have always used is extraordinary beliefs. So do you think with this report coming and the videos you are releasing out on the social media, now we are entering into the world of facts and science, or it is still a matter of belief?
Right, UFOs are not a matter of belief. They're as real as the nose on your face. That is true, that is real. I call it extraordinary beliefs, like my brand, my website, all of this, to allow it as an easy access for people to look at it. Say, okay, this is outside of our normal purview of what we consider to be rational and normal. However, we have now flipped the script where we're seeing that this is not extraordinary. UFOs are as common as flowers. This is something that has been with humankind. So I would like to believe that we are moving now into a world where people can engage this idea more rationally without the hubris of the human soul impeding upon our growth and acknowledgement. Instead, we're looking at this from a fact-based scenario, and we're acknowledging what's right in front of us.
Yeah, so one of the thing is that you have seen in the film Lazar, in which you talk to him in detail, where he is talking about the aliens, the sightings, and the kind of impressions he have, and you seem to be on the side that there are aliens. So my question is, what attracts alien if they are there?
Yeah, so I don't know the honest answer, because people would like me to say that there are aliens and they're visiting here from another solar system. I don't know. I don't know any better than you know. What I do know is that that is the understanding of our military and of our government, that these are not ours, that they come from somewhere else. They represent a technology so far advanced, it's beyond next generation technology, that this is gravity propulsion, that this is a non-reactionary propulsion system that we're viewing and witnessing when military pilots see these UFOs. So with Bob Lazar, he told us in 1989, through my mentor in journalism, George Knapp, he came forward and he told us he was tasked with trying to back engineer alien spacecraft with modern day terrestrial materials. Now, if what he said is true, which I'm going to leave up to you, you decide if what he's telling is true. I mean, I believe Bob. I believe him because I have more information than you. But let's say you go down that path. You decide, then what he said is so important, because if what he said is true, then we've known about UFOs. We have their craft. We're trying to back engineer them, and we're trying to derive technology from the technology that we witnessed in these vehicles. And if that's true, it's the biggest story human beings have ever engaged in modern history.
So while working with Lazar on that film, you have worked with the forensic, where you have filmed or incorporated sections about hypnosis and then polytest to prove that this man is not lying. Do you think that the whole debate has gone ahead of that, that now you don't need to go into that kind of debunking? Now it has moved ahead. How do you make sense of it?
Yes. The debunkers are being left in the dust, as we say. You know, they're eating dust, because at this point we've moved so far ahead. You know, does it vindicate Bob Lazar? I don't know. You tell me. Is what you're learning, does that allow you to look at what Bob Lazar said through a different type of lens? I would hope so, because everything he has said has come true. Everything he said has been proven so far to not be false. So that's the thing. I wasn't trying to prove Bob Lazar was telling the truth. I was trying to find out, is Bob Lazar telling the truth? That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know that since I was a kid, because if he's telling the truth, it changes everything. So yes, to answer your question, I believe you cannot ignore Bob Lazar's message. You cannot ignore what he said without looking at what you've learned over the past few years about the UFO topic.
Yeah, so till day the whole debate about UFOs and what are the operations behind it, how are the government programs working. So now there is a lot of information out and the government is supposed to release a report. Do you think that this issue going out of USO enthusiasts, debunkers and the people who are working on secret missions or programs. So do you think this debate entering into universities, into school curriculums or at other places?
Yeah, absolutely. We are already seeing that. So you have rational, intelligent individuals who are not allowing their bias or their hubris to get in the way of analyzing something that should be looked at scientifically. And you are seeing that, and you're going to continue to see that. So it doesn't matter. Like, one UFO case is never what you hang your hat on. It's never the case that proves everything. But one real UFO case means that UFOs are real if it's accurate. So it's this funny dichotomy. You never focus on one case as it being like the one that you're going to decide that's going to convince you. But you have to understand that one case, if it's real, then it proves the whole thing. So when we look at this, we have to understand that there's a weight of evidence that has come into the public realm over the last 40 years. And the weight of that evidence has become so massive, it's become so influential that we now must start paying attention to the individual cases.
Yeah. So my next question is to a filmmaker. So what kind of possibilities have increased for a documentary filmmaker with this new information?
Well, speaking filmmaker to filmmaker, you know what it takes to make a movie. It takes your heart and your soul and your time and your finances. I am wholly independent. I've never borrowed a penny from anybody to make my films. I took the risk, I made it, and then I went to see if I could make the film. Luckily now, for the first time in my life, the films are doing very well. And so I am very optimistic that you will see more filmmaking from me, because it's become much easier for me to produce these films, to make them, because people trust me. They trust me now. They come forward and they give me information because I've kept people's secrets. Part of exposing secrets is keeping them.
Yeah. So you have talked in your interviews, I know sarcastically, that the aliens are visiting us as we are very attractive, we are handsome and they like us. So do you think that a kind of theme like a return visit appearing in any of the films or any piece of art about a return visit of human being to the alien places where the aliens are coming from?
Well, if these are aliens, if these are beings or people from other star systems, because when you say alien, I think you mean that these are people from other stars. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I assume.
Okay. So if that is true, and if the UFO phenomenon represents that people are visiting from other star systems, one of the things I've talked about is the idea that if you're coming a distance, right, that you'd have a home base, you'd have a location, and from there you can operate and do whatever you're looking to do. Now we do that when we go rent an Airbnb or a hotel. We're in a new city, we get an operational base and we move out from there. If that is the case, and I don't know, but if it is, it would be very cool once this is acknowledged if there's some sort of exchange. And I think that's what you're asking is, what is there a desire on the end of the visitors to engage human beings on a level other than just study, like how we would study an anthill or deer in the wild or panda bears or gorillas, and we would go study them. But we're not sitting down and playing chess with them. We're not sitting down and having chai with them. We're not, right? Would there be a desire on their part, if this is true, and if it is being, I don't know, but I will definitely make an invitation to have chai at my house.
Yeah. With that, we end this interview. Thank you very much for joining me here. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the way that you're coming to the table, wanting to learn more about this. Know that none of us really know. There's a mystery, but the only way we will be able to tackle that mystery is as a global culture together, and if we do so in sincerity and asking the right questions. So I appreciate that you're bringing to your population and to your audience a sincere look at the UFO mystery and trying to understand what it is. We need that to progress as a human species if we are part of a larger cosmic understanding. So thank you for your time and attention.
Yeah, I assume that our audience will be engaging with us with all their rationality and the curiosity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my friend.